Hey, what is up, guys? So Valorant has now officially released their patch notes for patch 2.06, which will be dropping later today. And I have not actually read through these patch notes, but just looking at a quick overview of them, these are some pretty huge changes, both to Viper and Euro and the Bucky. Also adding the head-related transfer function for audio is really, really big for all players. So I'm going to go through and read all of the patch notes and give kind of my opinion on them. I'm not going to read all this stuff. It just says, with masters behind us, it's time to get, our work done on these different things. Slide on those headphones and enjoy Hrtf, which helps pinpoint enemy footsteps, reloads, and deathmatch respawns using a simulated surround sound space. Also, you'll love for escalation means we're returning the favor with some ability upgrades and loadout variations. And then, of course, Bucky gets a nerf. So the Hrtf, I will play the actual video of what the audio sounds like here in a little bit. You do have to be wearing headphones to notice the difference, right? But essentially, if you've ever noticed while you're playing Valorant that you hear some footsteps and you can't really tell, are they to your left, are they behind you, to the right? It just is supposed to simulate a surround sound space, so it's easier to hear where footsteps and reloads and stuff like that are coming from. Overall, I watched the whole video. I honestly could not tell that big of a difference. And I know that it's not my headphones because, these are G Pro wireless headphones. It's a really, really nice headset. So I know it's not an issue with the headset. I couldn't notice a huge difference, but I could notice a little difference. But moving right on to Viper with all of her toxins, right? All of her toxin abilities. The decay starts at least 50 decay, which is kind of crazy. That's essentially like as soon as someone touches any of your Viper abilities, whether it be the Poison Cloud, the Toxic Screen, or the Viper Pit, they immediately lose 50 health. Obviously, they can regain that health back later on, but that's still pretty insane to lose that immediately. And then while in the cloud, the decay is obviously decreased from 15 to 10. So the way that I'm looking at it, right, is you lose 50 right off the bat when you walk into it, and then you're immediately losing 10 every single time that you stay in it for each amount of time frame that you stay in it. I don't know exactly what it is. But that is some really, really quick damage. And that can really, really slow down a push. And I'm just thinking, I am not a Viper main in any way, but imagine a Viper, I'm thinking in my head, you're probably going to use the Phantom over the Vandal so you can spray through your own smokes and your wall and stuff like that. Well, if the other team is trying to push into sight and you pop that cloud, there's not a whole lot that they can do. If they push in, they're immediately dropped to 100 health, right? Their shield plus the 50 health that they still have left. And you can just spray through that smoke like crazy with a Phantom, an Ares, an Odin, whatever, even a Vandal, but it's a little harder with the Vandal. And, you can kill people really, really quickly. On top of that, the actual health regen is decreased from 2.5 to 1.5, so you get that health back a little bit quicker, but still, you walk in and you are immediately losing health. So on her Q ability, her Poison Cloud, you can now immediately redeploy it when you pick it up, but it is a temporary charge instead of a permanent charge. And if active when Viper dies, Poison Cloud now remains up for an additional 2 seconds or until Viper runs out of fuel. And then the pickup distance increased to 200 to 400. These aren't big changes, but they're little changes, and it's nice. And having the Poison Cloud and the Toxic Screen up for an additional 2 seconds is pretty nice. And then full blind distance from the wall increased to better match the blind distance from the edge of smokes. So I guess just a little harder to see through. Snake Bite, her actual damage dealing ability. Equip time decreased from 1.1 to 8. That's a difference of 0.3. That's better. Part of the reason that I don't like playing Viper sometimes is it takes so long to pull out that Snake Bite. That's kind of my issue with a lot of agents, is how long it takes to pull out the abilities. In certain situations, it's very difficult to get those abilities out. Practice tools, this is just for custom games, being able to recall them by actually activating instead of walking up to them and stuff like that. Euro, all right, so these are some pretty huge Euro changes, and looking over them just very quickly, I could definitely, I'm not going to say that Euro is going to be a really, really good agent, like someone like Jet or Phoenix or Reyna, but I could definitely see how he could be used a lot. His actual flash, the blind side, flash activation time decreased from 0.8 to 0.6. This is exactly what I was talking about with the snake bite. I hate how long it takes to pull out some abilities. Yeah, that's only a 0.2 second difference, but 0.2 is a long time in the thick of things while everything's going on. Flash duration increased from 1.1 to 1.5. Now, I don't know the exact duration of all of the flashes off the top of my head, but a 0.4 second increase is pretty huge. That makes a huge difference, again, in a gunfight. Having 0.4 more seconds of being full blind is pretty huge. So his flash is just already, you pull it out quicker and it flashes people for longer. It's an even better flash now. His E ability, his gate crash, is no longer refreshed on kills, but instead replenished every 35 seconds, right? So this essentially works like an omen smoke. He just gets them over time. That's crazy. If you think about it, in an average round, that means you could potentially use his E ability, his teleport, right, his gate crash. You could potentially use it like 4 times in a round. 3 to 4 times in a round. That's crazy. Lifetime of the gate crash fragment increased from 20 to 30 seconds. I think that this is really good if you're going to use it passively, right? So one way that I have seen Yoro used kind of nicely is on a map like Haven, where it's a very, very wide open map. He puts his teleport orb, his gate crash orb, over on like C long, then he goes to A long, kills somebody, right? The other team is going to start shifting over to that A, especially if he's in like a 1v2, 1v3 scenario, right? He gets that kill over by A and then immediately teleports to C. This now gives him more time to be able to do that, right? Having 10 more seconds that is up is huge. This whole gate crash ability can be used really well to throw off timings with rotations and stuff like that. So that increase is pretty awesome. The range at which the gate crash fragment, aka the orb, is revealed from stealth decreased from 7 meters to 4 meters. So what I understand from that, if I'm reading that correctly, you can still hear it from the same distance that it was, but you can no longer see it from 7 meters. You have to be 4 meters, which is really close to be able to actually see it. Visuals for visibility range added to the movement fragment. Not really sure what that's going to look like, but we'll see. This is the big one. This is the big change that I read that I was like, oh my gosh. Ult point reduced from 7 to 6. That's a huge change in and of itself. Having an ult point 1 point quicker, Valorant is... One of the reasons that I love Valorant so much is it is a double economy game, right? You have your actual economy for buying guns, abilities, armor, stuff like that. Then you have your ult economy, which just adds more to the game. Being able to get it 1 ult point quicker is huge. That means if you ace a round, or get 3 kills in a round and get an orb and die, right? You almost already you can essentially have this every 2 rounds. Is what I'm trying to say. If you're playing well. And then Yoro can now activate Gate Crash while in Dimensional Shift. So you could, just thinking out loud here, you could use his Gate Crash, put it deep in to a site or really far away from the site, or wherever you want to put it. You can then use his Dimensional Shift ult ability to push into site, get a bunch of information on where everyone is, and if someone is close to you where you think that as soon as you pop your or you get out of your dimensional shift that you're going to die, which happens a lot. You use his ultimate ability, you push in, and then somebody's close to you right as it's about to end, or they're following you around, and boom, you're dead. There's nothing you can do about it. Now you can immediately E out of there before you're even out of your ultimate, so they have no chance to kill you. So you still get the same amount of information, and you can not die, essentially. And then this is a small one to Killjoy. Killjoy can now pick up deploy nanoswarm grenades during the buy phase to get the charge back. Same as Cypher with his cages. Then the Bucky. I've been waiting for this. I think we've all been waiting for this. This is huge. Primary fire left click, right, which is the close range one. Bullet spread decreased from 3.4 to 2.6. Decreased spread on right click from 3.4 to 2.0, right? So the spread is being decreased with both of these, right? So you have to be a little more accurate where your crosshair is. Updated damage curve for both primary and alt fire. 0 to 8 meters is 20 damage per pellet. 8 to 12 meters is 12 damage per pellet. Beyond 12 meters is 9 damage per pellet. Reduced amount of pellets in a right click from 15 to 5. That's the crazy one, right? 15 to 5. That's a third of the damage. Think about it that way, right? A third of the damage with that right click. Or a third of the chance of hitting someone with that right click. So even if you hit all 5 of your pellets at 8 to 12 meters, you're only doing, what, 60 damage? 60, right? My math right there? 12 meters, even with your right click, you're only doing, what is that, 9 times 5 is 45. You're only doing 45 damage past 12 meters. And that is if you hit all 5 meters, right? The spread was decreased, so as long as you're accurate, it should still be easier to hit those pellets. Now, the 15 pellets is still on the left click, I believe. But I feel like this will make the right click on the Bucky a lot less devastating, and it will also make more sense to buy the Judge now. Because ever recently, I feel like unless you are expecting a large wave of enemies to just start running at you, you know, like a full rush right into you, it's just always smarter to buy the Bucky. It's cheaper, and it works better. Now, it makes more sense to actually buy the Judge in some scenarios. Going on, Escalation raises Showstopper. Now comes with 2 Blast Pack charges, which refill when you touch the ground. That's crazy. So you can now Blast Pack around the map with the raised Showstopper. Flights is going to have fun with that, I'm sure. And all the Flights wannabes. Snowball Launcher now comes with Skates, the increased mobility. Big Knife now comes with 1 Tailwind Jet Dash Charge, which refills on kill. That's crazy. Loadout variations will be a bit of a surprise, and now they'll show up rarely. Let us know which ones you like. So we'll see what that actually ends up looking like. I don't really know about the loadout variations. Competitive updates. You can now view a person's career from the in-game leaderboard. That's interesting. That is very interesting. You can see, from what I understand from that, you can see your teammates' last games. I believe that could bring some toxicity, but I hope that ends up being a good thing. We've heard some of you asking for the ability to view more info around how the best of the best were doing in their games. So now you can right-click on a leaderboard entry and view their career to check out their match history, see details on their games, and look at their act rank progress. If you are on the leaderboard but don't want to give away who you are, you can leverage your in-client toggle to label yourself a secret agent. So from what I understand, people can still see it, it just won't say who you are. That's interesting. Quality of life. To improve legibility, the Mega Map now consistently uses a mouse pointer instead of a crosshair for map pings. That doesn't really do anything for me, but okay. Head-related transfer function. We're going to skip all that. Added an audio toggle located in the audio settings panel to enable Hrtf. Hrtf allows players wearing headphones to play audio in a simulated surround sound audio space. Currently, only footsteps, reloads, and deathmatch respawns will be rendered in 3D with Hrtf enabled. It's recommended that players please turn off any other 3D audio processing while you're using this feature. So if your headset has a surround sound ability, like mine does, make sure to turn it off before you use this. And then they fixed a bunch of bugs. Fixed an issue where spectating Astra would cause Omen's dark cover phased world map to display as pink. That's weird. Never knew that was a thing. Fixed a bug was causing act rank badges to show your top wins out of order. Weird. And doesn't really look like there's anything else big in there. Okay, so I will go ahead and play this audio thing really quickly. I will be completely silent. I will actually mute my mic while I play it, just in case you want to listen to it. and if you're wearing headphones, you can hear the difference yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and play it right now, and then we'll wrap up and end the video. All right, so overall, the one that I could definitely tell the difference on myself was the reload, that very last one. I can definitely tell the difference because without the Hrtf, it sounds like it's on the right side, but then once they turn it on, you can definitely tell that it's above you, not on the right. The actual footsteps, personally, I can't hear much of a difference. Maybe that's just me, maybe that's my headset, maybe I just have bad hearing. I do have bad hearing. Maybe I'll notice a bigger difference in game, and I will probably actually go into custom games and try to figure it out myself, see if it's worth putting on or not, if it's a really, really good addition that you should always keep on, or if it's something that, you know, is not for everyone. It really depends. But overall, it's a great addition to the game. At least they're adding more content, helping players be more competitive. It's a great change. It's a great change. Even if it doesn't work perfectly, it's still a great change and probably better than not having it on. But if you don't want to have it on, you can turn it off, which is cool. All right, well, this was kind of a long video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys, learned something, and let me know what your guys' feelings on all these changes are. The Viper, the Euro, the Bucky, the Killjoy one's not a good, it's a great change. It's not a bad change, though. And then Hrtf, whether you think you're actually going to use it or not. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'd appreciate it if you leave a like, comment, subscribe, and y'all take it easy. Deuces.